dug sand all day.
Yeah, that was growing up. I was about 10 years old when I started that, because I was in the village, and where I grew up. After leaving my aunt's house, I went to my grandma, and we had to like do something. We had to work to contribute at home, to buy oil, to buy food, and also for our scholarship, for books. So you have to work, and that's how we started. Even though that work was meant for adults, but we didn't have any option, so we take what we had.
Digging sand.
Yeah.
It's also, your body must develop very strong from doing something like that. At 10 years old, like as you're growing, as you're maturing, doing something that's that difficult,
Yeah.
I mean, it must have made you really fucking strong. But it's just genetics too. There's a lot of good things that came your way that way, but also the difficulty of doing something when you're that young, such hard labor. I mean, it had to teach you discipline. There had to be like some positive. It's terrible that you had to do that at 10, but
Yeah.
there had to be some positive aspects of it, some positive repercussions of it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't like my life, and I always feel like I miss my childhood. Like it's something missing in it, because it's been too much frustration in my life. Like I had to work by that age, and it wasn't enough. Like when school starts all the time, I'm gonna go to school, and most of the time still didn't have a pen to take note or a notebook to write on it. Sometimes no shoes or clothes, just have to wear like my uniform was tear all over, and I was frustrated to look around and see other kids looking good. They went to they went in vacation to this family member, came back with all brand new stuff, and I was just there looking crabby with my. I had to like take my old book and look for an empty page to take a note, hoping that when I have a book, I will copy the note from this year in the new book. But at first I always had to use the old book. And most of the time, teachers, they don't understand why you don't have a book. They don't understand why you don't have a pen. Sometimes they just think that you didn't tell your parents. You should tell your parents so they can buy it for you. They don't understand that you can not just afford it. Your parent can't, and they'll kick you out from the classroom. Maybe
Really?
just to say, go tell your parents,
and you couldn't tell them we can't afford it. You didn't want to say it.
Then they knew, but what can they do? Nothing, because most of the time it's gonna be, even with the money that I work, that they're gonna buy my pen or my book.
Yeah.
But you work sometime and they don't pay you right away. It's maybe after months, so all the process, and sometimes they'll just kick you out from the school because of the scholarship fee. You haven't paid on time, so they kick you out. So I was subject of shame to other kids.
Yeah.
Because all the time when they kick you out in front of 50, 60 students, it's not a good thing, and I couldn't have a friend, because you know how things work. You have to be able to bring something on the table to enjoy, but since you don't even have a pen or a book to take note, nobody expects you to bring a lunch or to buy something in the break time to share with them. So they don't want to share with you, since they don't have any hope that you will have something to share with them. And I was always in retreat. I always stay in retreat, and that's how I technically grew up by myself. I end up like not even trying to have a friend. I'm like, okay, this is my situation. Maybe I feel okay, just retreat myself, not just to try all the time and get shame of it all the time. I retreat and don't have to deal with these people with their opinion on me. And but that motivated me at some point. I'm like, damn, look, this kid, they're looking at me like I'm worth nothing, but technically I worth more than them because I'm working, even though what I have is less than what they have. I deserve what I have. I work hard for it, and they don't deserve shit. They're just a kids.
Right.
They work and their parents provide for them. I'm not just lucky. I'm not just lucky to have that chance, but I'm still trying, which means I'm not bad at the end of the day, So that pushed me to, like, from there, I wanted something to prove them wrong. I'm like, okay, I gotta do something that can prove this kid that I'm not beneath them.
So that gave you motivation.
Yes, that gave me motivation because that frustration, I was full of frustration, and I want to, like, drive this into something. Like, I have to prove them. I can't go to the party. I can't have friends as anyone, and I have to work hard than anyone. My school was like, my middle school was, I think, about 6 miles from home. So it took me almost 2 hours to get at school.
So you walked?
Yeah, so I walked around about 2 hours. And before meet the first student is at least after like 40 minutes walk, so I have to wake up at 5, just get ready, start work, sometime with not eating. Then I get to school, and the school close at maybe 4 to 5. But since I didn't eat in the morning, by noon, 1 or 2, I'm hungry, I'm starving. I can't take it anymore. I will leave school sometime, just because I was hungry. Or if I had a chance to have breakfast or something, I won't eat before I leave home, because I know if I eat at 5 or 6, I will get hungry early. I'll take it at school to eat maybe around 10, so I can resist until the end, and that's how I did it this entire time. So my process was all different from other kids, and nobody could have understand that. He was just on me, and I was the only one knowing what I'm dealing with exactly to get there. So, and all those things kept frustrating me. I'm like, I'm gonna show them. Like,
how long did you have to work in these sand mines?
Until I left school. Until I left school, I was 17, and then I keep doing it. And then
you did it from 10 to 17. You did it all through school.
Yeah.
And when
that was the only thing to do.
Right. When did you do it? Like, if you went to school during the day, when did you work in the sand mines?
Over the weekend, over the holidays, because I never had a chance to go to holiday, even for the summer holiday, which is like 3 months. That would be because we have a tropical climate. So at that moment, we have 2 seasons. Wet season and dry season, and that's a wet season, so it's almost rain all the time. Kids go to vacation and all those stuff. Adult doesn't want to work because it's raining all the time. Guess what? That was our opportunity when they don't want to work, so we have a chance to work. Otherwise, they will come back to their job. We will not have job.
Right.
So that was a good opportunity to work under the rain all the time, like get back home shaking because all day long it's been raining, so you have to stay active. because as soon as you stop working, moving, you get cold, you just get freezing. So you get active. It forces you to stay active and to work even more. And our employer will love that because you work even more than normal. And so that's how we do it. And sometime after school, I will stop at the sandmine if I have like a quick job. Maybe if a truck comes and they have to load it, if I have a place to load, because you load, they give money to share. You get something sometime not. And when I was a kid, most of the time they kick you out. Adult didn't want you on it. I'm like, get away of here, because the less they are, more money they get. So they don't. 6 years ago, I was in Morocco, trying to find my way to go to Europe, because that's always been my dream, to get somewhere that I can have opportunity. And out there, it was just like immigrating. So we was illegal, like those similar like Mexican trying to cross the border.
Did you get jobs?
No job. Sometimes we live in the forest, hiding for the cops, trying to cross the border to go to Spain. And anytime that, and it was.
Did you have food?
No, sometimes
How did you eat?
Sometimes we have to go hunt. Sometimes we have to go wait to the trash truck.
Did anybody ever see you and
we
just say, "Hey, need food?" Never.
No, when we have to hide, because we didn't know who was the police or not, and there was like in regular clothes sometime to come there,
Detectives
catch us. Yes, and when I went in rough, sometimes you have a hard time, and we have a chance to go to sometime. I always believe that, I don't know why, but it seems like I had some voice in my mind who told me that it's gonna happen. How? I don't know, but it's gonna happen. Then I'm like, yes, I'm gonna do it. And that was just like 6 to 7 years ago. And today I'm here, you're telling me about my KO, which is like, where? I'm like, is it real?
No, you did what you don't know what you did. Know what you did? Your words were your destiny. You spoke out your reality. You said, "I'm gonna do that." That's what happened to me. I was locked up in a juvenile detention center at 1978, maybe 1979, something to that. 78, 77. I was like, 12 or 11. I was locked up in a juvenile detention, and we watched the movie The Greatest, and it was cool. And as soon as the lights came on, Muhammad Ali came in. And as soon as he came in, everybody lost. I mean, the staff, the guards, the police, everybody lost. And I said, I want to be like him. First thing I said, I want to be like him. I don't know why I said it. Maybe because everybody was clapping, going crazy, and I served that, and I got high off that rush. I said, I want to be like him. I didn't know I was going to do it, but I said, I want to be like him.
The thing is, I didn't even have a chance to have a real model on live. Like, obviously, we heard about Mike Tyson, but I couldn't watch Mike Tyson fight. We didn't have TVs, We barely have a lamp to read our book. I started to work at 10. I was 10 years old to be able to support my scholarship, and that's how I grew up. But you're right, because the thing is like, in where I'm from Cameroon, and from some small village, and people they are very hopeless, because they feel like they lose everything. Nothing is made for them. They're forgotten, and they're like, okay, you have to settle to this. And that's why I always have problem with my family, because I was a dreamer. I was very ambitious. I'm like, I want to make something, and then they came up with some story like with Mike Tyson on, and this guy will end up go to jail and come back and still be in the top level. I'm like, everything is possible, I mean, it's like a motivation. Sometimes good things are really good, but the most important thing sometimes that you can also look up in what's supposed to be bad and see the good in it. And that's what is really important. That's what you learn out of it. you know.
I remember Ali, he didn't go to prison, but they took he couldn't fight for 3 years.
Yeah.
And he came back eventually and won the title, after losing the Frazier and losing to Norton, but he still came back and won the title.
That's because he refused to go to Vietnam?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I went to prison for 3 years, I said, I'm going to do it too, just like Ali. But I said, I'm going to win the title the first fight. He didn't win the first fight with Frazier, but I said, the first fight I'm going to win.
Yeah. I think it's always good when you have to look to, us human, we are weak, and we always need to look up to somebody as an example to prove ourselves.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Same thing as myself, I said when I saw Ali and them guys, I didn't see Ali in his prime, but I saw Ray Leonard and Duran. And as soon as I saw them, I said, this is what I'm going to do in my life. I'll die before.